Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to share with you how I use tissue paper in my Bible journaling, plus I'm going to share how I print onto tissue paper. Now this is a great way to get some quotes, maybe some hymnals into your Bible. I like to put hymnals into my Bible. They mean a lot to me. My mom played piano and organ, and she was also the director of the choir at our very small church, but music was something that was a lot in our house. So these types of songs are what remind me of her. They remind me of going to church with her and all those things. So I like to print these off. You can find a ton of free printables on Pinterest um, just by doing a quick Google search. But I like to print them off onto tissue paper and then glue them into my Bible. It's really simple and easy to do. But if you look in your Bible, you have tons of pages that have either nothing on them, they're just blank. You have a half a page, you have maybe 3/4 of a page that you can go in and just completely do whatever you want on them. This is just a way for me to bring things that mean a lot to me into my Bible. This is also a great way if you have certain verses or quotes and maybe you don't want to do any hand lettering. You can print them off on your computer and then you can glue them into your Bible. It's really simple and easy to do. Now, I am just taking a look through my Bible to see what page I want to put this newest one on. I do not worry about the content on the other pages. If I want a Bible journal on those, I will do that. But I just like to find a page where if I open it up, I see this song or maybe it's some lyrics to a song, then that's what draws my eye in. If I want a Bible journal on the other page for a verse that means a lot to me or I really want to focus on, I will do that. Now I went ahead and just picked out a page. I'm actually using the page before a before a book starts. So I've got a completely free blank page and I want to go ahead and take a piece of tissue paper and cut a nice sized rectangle. This is going to be slightly smaller than 8.5 by 11. You can go slightly larger. You don't want to go full 8.5 by 11. You want a little bit of space around your tissue paper once you glue it to the paper. So you can get almost that size, but you don't want to go fully a full sheet of paper size, if that makes sense. It will in a moment once I show you. I'm going to cut this down even further because I don't need that big of a piece of tissue paper. And I want to go ahead, and if it has any wrinkles or anything on it, you can get those out in a minute. But the first thing I want to do with this one, I want to go ahead and tape it down to a piece of cardstock. This is very thin, cheap cardstock from Michael's. You do not want a thick piece. You want thin, but you also don't want like your regular typing or computer paper. You want something thin that's got a little bit more substance to it than your regular sheet of paper, but you don't want it to get stuck in your printer. Now I am using a strong adhesive that is a double-sided adhesive. You don't want a wet adhesive for this. You want a dry adhesive. And I'm going to place 4 teeny tiny little pieces, not even 1/4 of an inch long, on each one of the 4 corners of this tissue paper. Now you can see my tissue paper doesn't have a lot of wrinkles in it right now. If you were using something from like a gift maybe, or something that's been crinkled up a lot, you can iron that out beforehand and then put it down. But for this one, I'm going to go ahead and put it down and then iron. Now I like to start in the center and smooth out from the center to all 4 corners. That's going to get it as stretched out as possible. You won't have any lumps or kind of pieces that want to crinkle up in your printer. You want it as stretched out and as smooth as possible. Now I don't have a craft iron, and I'm not going to use a clothes iron in my craft room, so I grabbed a hair straightener. This works just as well. You just want to turn the heat down. I like it better than an iron because I can get that heat set exactly to where I want it. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of iron out my paper. It's so simple to do. You're getting heat from both sides with this, so I don't have to worry about putting down a towel heating up my surface at all. It's super simple and easy to do. I like using my hair straightener, or I don't use this one in my hair, but I like using a hair straightener in my craft room more than an iron. So on this other sheet of paper, it has a little bit more of a crinkle to it. And I'm just going to run my hair straightener over it. You can see how easy this flattens out. You just want to make sure you turn that heat down so you don't burn your paper. Now it does have a little bit more of a handmade paper feel to it once it has that crinkle in it. And that's a great look. I love the look of it. So if that's something you like, you can purposely crinkle up your paper like I did with this pink sheet here. And then you can come in with your straightener or your iron and flatten it out. You just want to make sure that it's flat whenever you go to print. If you have any crinkles or anything on it, it's got it has that possibility of getting hung up in your printer, of getting jammed. So just make it easier on yourself and flatten it out beforehand and make sure that you have it stretched out as well as you can across that piece of cardstock. And again, you want a thin, cheap piece of cardstock, nothing thick, or it's going to get stuck in your printer. And make sure your printer is equipped to handle cardstock. Make sure you have that setting on there because if you don't, it's going to get stuck. It will. I've done it before in my printer and had to go in and take the whole thing apart, so learn from my mistake. There you can see how easily that flattened out, and it's got that handmade paper look to it now, which is a great little technique if you want to go for that look. I'm going to give you a nice little close-up of all of these pieces here that I did flatten out. I have first my one on the piece of cardstock, and then I've got my other two that were a little bit more crinkly. They still have those little bit of crinkles in them, but again, it's nice and flat, so this will go through my printer really, really easily as well. And there's that pink sheet that I just did too. Now to print. I have a laser printer. Here it is. I'm holding my camera, so it's going to jump around a little bit. I don't have the steadiest of hands. I have a laser printer. This is a Brother. It's very cheap. I will leave a link down below to it. I send that through my printer after I created my document, and there it is. It came out perfectly. I created that document in Photoshop Elements. You can use Word. You can do free printables from Pinterest, whatever you want to do. Just print what speaks to you on this tissue paper. Now, mine is actually the lyrics to a song written in red. This is something my mom made me sing in church, and she played piano to it. So it's a song I still remember to this day, and I still love, and just it reminds me a lot of those times. So this is something that I just quickly typed out the lyrics to, put a little border around it, and printed it off with my laser printer. Now, another thing I'm going to do on this is actually use my Tim Holtz ruler and get kind of a torn edge effect along the side of this. Now, you can cut these straight with your paper trimmer if you want to, but I'm going to go for that torn edge look. And before I did this, you could see I cut this with my paper trimmer. I didn't try and tear it up from the adhesive on there. Just trim off the adhesive with your paper trimmer. Again, it's thin cardstock. It's going to be really simple and easy to go through both layers. That way you don't chance ripping this. So once I had all the little edges torn, I'm going to go ahead and flip back to that page in my Bible journal. Now I did mark that with my Bible marker. I will leave a link to the Bible markers I made in the top right hand corner if you want to check out that video. I have a page protector behind my paper that I am working on. You want something behind that to catch all this glue. I am using matte medium from Liquitex. You can also use multi-matte medium from Ranger if you have that. If you don't have the bottle with the brush in it like I had, you can use your little squeeze bottle as well. All you need to do is squeeze out a bunch on your page. Just take the cap off, squeeze out some drops all across your page, and then use a foam brush or a brush and smear that across the page. I like to use the Liquitex. It's very strong. I have it for putting pictures onto canvases as well. I have a video on that coming up, and I have this on hand, so this is what I like to use. You can also use gesso. I I don't have any gesso, and it's not something I use in my Bible a lot, but if you want to be able to work over this, add color, that kind of thing, maybe do some watercoloring, do some lettering over this, do some stamping over it, use gesso. That's going to give you a workable surface on top, and then you can go back in and seal it with another layer of gesso as well. This I'm not going to do any work over, so I didn't worry about it. I'm going to be using matte gel medium, and I bought this at Hobby Lobby. I will leave a link to it down below at a different store that you can find this at. I put a thin layer of that over the entire page. Then I come in with my tissue paper and I place it over where I want. You want to take your time in doing this because you're not really going to be able to pull this up once you put it down. Then I just take my bone folder and kind of spread this out, smooth out any air bubbles that might be under this. If you don't want to use your bone folder, use an old credit card. Just use a flat surface, a ruler. You can even use your fingers if you want to do that. I didn't want to get my fingers too awfully dirty this day. So I use my bone folder and I'm just going to smooth those out until I get all the edges stuck down nice and well. And I also get all the air bubbles out from underneath. Now, once that's done and it's dried, or not dry, but you've got it stuck down, you can come back in with another layer of that Liquitex over the top to seal it in. If you want to work on the tissue paper itself at this point, you can still do that. You don't want to work over the matte medium. You can do that and then come back and seal it in. But I'm just going to seal it in because I won't be doing anything over that. So I will put another layer of this over the tissue paper. And this is going to be done after this. Now, you may look at this and worry about the kind of white cast it has right now, but this dries perfectly clear and it also dries matte. So I really like that. You can get this gel medium and gloss. You can get it in semi-gloss, I believe, and maybe a few other finishes. I like the matte finish, but that's just my preference. You can go with whatever works for you. Now you want to be careful you don't get any on the other page. And also, when you have this done, once you have your layer of gel medium over the tissue paper, you want to take out that page protector that you've been working on and put in a new clean one. If you don't, you run the risk of that page protector getting glued to your page just because gel medium is such a strong kind of adhesive. Once it's dry, it's pretty much stuck. So go ahead and insert a new clean page protector. I like to use these because it's slick. If you don't have any page protectors, I bought these from the dollar store for $1. If you don't have any, you can also use not plastic wrap and not wax paper, parchment paper from your kitchen. That would work really well as well. Now, any glue that you got on the other side, you want to go ahead and wipe up, and then you want to let this dry. It's going to get a little crinkly. That's okay. That's just what it does. Then what I like to do is put another piece of tissue paper over on top, really crank that heat down on your straightener or your iron, and then go over the top. This is going to get a little tacky, and it's going to steam up a little bit, but it pulls right up and it doesn't leave any color. You just want to make sure you have that heat down, and that flattens out the page completely. Again, leave that open until it's completely dry or you're going to glue your Bible shut. You don't want to do that. So that is the finished page. It was super simple and easy to do. It just takes a little bit of time, dry time, and it's a great way to get some maybe sayings or verses or hand lettering or song verses, hymnals, whatever means a lot to you into those blank pages of your Bible. I love the way this turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Here are a few final pictures of all those different pages that I've done. That does it for me today. On the left side of your screen, you're going to see a few different links you can click on. Thanks for watching today and happy crafting.